Squelch, 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 squelch.
We are recording.
Ready for me?
Yeah, it's your podcast. You get to lead this one.
Okay. Welcome back to Squelch, the video game book club. I'm Dano.
I'm Matt at Arms.
I'm Storm Rage. And we're here to remind everyone that video games are fun.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah. I mean, Dragon Age 2 is still a video game. A game will be fun.
Yeah.
I think live podcast episodes are fun.
Yeah. I sure hope so.
You know what's
Yeah.
super fun? Conventions for other podcasts.
Indeed. So we are here live. We are at Blizzletcon. The Blizzlet hosts have been super kind to take us into their little home and their community, and they've been so awesome. Tedo Smarms and Daniel, your community is absolutely amazing. Kudos to you. I kind of hang out in the periphery a little bit here and there, and this weekend has been pretty awesome. So kudos to the three of you.
Thank you.
For absolutely just maybe the coolest podcast community out there. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
It's pretty wild that people are here just hanging out from all sorts of different places, and I'm pretty excited that we get to record Squelch in front of them to definitively make my friends listen to Squelch.
Yes.
But I've been trying to do it for a very long time.
And this is going to be something fun for all of you who don't listen to Squelch, which I imagine is probably one of you out there, maybe. You get to actually hear Daniel talk without swearing. Because Squelch is a PG podcast.
That's true, and it's wild.
Actually, fun fact, I'm the one who swears more often than Daniel does on
That's
this show.
true.
So-
I've sworn like once in the last 6 months, and it was the most accidental F-bomb I think I've ever hit.
Yeah.
And then Matt is usually
I'm the
number one
sailor.
offender, outside of just a guy who, while not swearing a single time on Blizzlet, swore up a storm when he was on Squelch.
Which, you know, created the greatest drop of all time, which is the quack drop that we use to cover up some swears
It's
whenever
true.
whenever we find them.
Yeah, I do love going back and editing out swears. It's my favorite part of the podcast. I love going and scrubbing through the entire podcast to look for that one moment of swear.
Yeah.
That usually is my fault.
Yeah,
I
it's great.
apologize.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's really great. I'm so glad we could talk about that.
I am admittedly very glad that you reminded me that it's PG. Because my brain, I was like, yeah, swear words, cussing.
Yeah, so the notes are throw to Daniel, thank Tedo Smarms and Daniel, keep it PG. So Daniel told us a while ago that we were going to do this, and I had no idea what we were going to talk about. Honestly, wasn't sure what it was going to be. So I was talking with Grand Arcanum at lunch beforehand, and I was like, we could just talk about like the history of Squelch a little bit, because there have been a number of like Squelch eras. It's been kind of fun to kind of put it all together again and put it in one place. We've done this before, maybe for patrons or
Might
something.
have been like episode 200 we did that. maybe.
Yeah. So Squelch is 6 years old this week. So Squelch turned, turned 6 when I turned 44, when Matt turned 45. So the first episode of Squelch came out on July 21st, which is my birthday, actually. So that was kind of fun. So I thought we could talk about like where Squelch came from, the idea behind Squelch, like why I thought that the Hearthstone community needed another stupid podcast. and like the crazy places we've gone to since there. So I'm going to start with the idea for Squelch was a year before we even launched it. So I had a logo. Fred the Squelch Dragon was created one entire year before we actually launched Squelch. And Throma put together for me, and then never actually get the phone case. You can buy a phone case if you want. And put Fred the Squelch Dragon together, and then I went to my Hearthstone playing friends, which we all came from, like TAC adjacent Dills strings, essentially.
The Dills Slack was where the central group came from.
And so TAC being the Angry Chicken,
Correct.
kind of the preeminent Hearthstone podcast, the most popular Hearthstone podcast for a very long period of time until they ended it some time ago.
And the core group of 5 of us. Was it 5? It's 5.
Yeah, so it was Nate, Matt, Enthrallman/Joel, myself, and Magooch.
Yeah.
Magooch was here with us. He's muted like always. An old joke. But Magooch was the first co-host with me. We started together, actually. And the entire premise was, which is, still a tagline today, was Hearthstone is a game and games are supposed to be fun.
I did not join the first episode because I was currently doing another podcast at the time called Hero Power.
Yeah.
Which is no longer a podcast.
But a super fun podcast.
It was a super fun podcast.
Yeah, at the time, so The Angry Chicken was the big podcast, and The Angry Chicken wasn't always a positive podcast because they got a little tired of, we know how we get, sometimes the game that you have to play every single week and you talk about every week, you get a little tired of. And I was like, well, why are we playing a game that's not fun? Right? So, why this is a game and games are supposed to be fun, right? So let's just look at the positive aspects of Hearthstone. Let's concentrate on that and have that be the defining characteristic of our show. And that was what it was. And to be honest, that mindset shift for me and the way I approached Hearthstone was insane. It was the idea of this is a game and games supposed to be fun, right? So if I'm not having fun playing this, then what am I doing? And that entire shift right there, when we started that podcast and looked at it from this is fun, it changed, honestly, everything. And Hearthstone, which I always enjoyed, became an absolute blast. Just fell in love with the game all over again.
And if I may preview something, remember this point? Remember this point of should be fun? Because we will come back to this point when I come into the story later on.
Yeah, there is a part in the notes we get back to that. But that was the whole point of it. And that mindset shift was amazing. And it was a ton of fun. The first episodes of Squelch were scripted. Not we have show notes. Magooch and I scripted out everything that we had to say. The idea was we want a 20-minute podcast. That didn't last very long. A 20-minute podcast that talked about what we're enjoying about the game, where the game is at, that kind of stuff. And that was kind of the idea. I scripted everything out, edited everything meticulously. Any bit of white space that was too long, I took out, and it was just this incredibly meticulous thing. And then 6 people listened to it. Yeah.
One was me. I think one was you.
Yeah, it was. And then Enthrallman, Magooch, and Nate. That was it. But that was where we started. It was 6 people downloaded the episode.
Yeah.
And then we kicked it off from there. And so it was just Magooch and I for quite a while. 30 episodes or so.
Something like that. But in that first dozen or so episodes, probably one of our best bits we've ever done, or you've ever done, is the Naga sandwich, which is initially called the Hearth Burger.
It was. So explain why it's called the Naga sandwich, Matt.
All right, so the Naga sandwich is, a sandwich is, a good, a not so good, and a best good.
Yeah. So it's
perhaps in opposite order to how people typically think of sandwiches. Because I very rarely think of sandwiches
so it's based
as
off a
the bread
compliment
is the
sandwich.
best
A
part.
compliment sandwich, yes.
So the compliment sandwich is you give criticism between 2 good things, right? That's a compliment sandwich. So the idea of the Naga sandwich was we're going to talk about 2 good things and 1 not so good thing in Hearthstone. That was kind of the idea behind the Naga sandwich. It was the Hearth Burger at first, though, but it became the Naga sandwich after I didn't know what cards sound like because I played with the game muted because I had music on.
And we used the, was it Taste My Blades?
Yes.
It was the drop we used.
And I thought that was the Naga sandwich.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. But so that's where the Naga sandwich came. But it was just myself and Magooch, and we just kind of riffing off each other. And Magooch, to this day, one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. Squelch became a comedy podcast, not because we wanted it to be, but because Magooch is so dang funny.
I love the idea of almost a call to power. I don't want to be the leader, but I must be. I didn't want to be a comedy podcast, but I must be.
That's not what it even was, though. It was just he's such an incredibly funny person that it just became, it very quickly stopped being 20 minutes. It became an hour because getting to chat with Magooch every week is just an absolute gem. Still one of my very, very good friends. And it was just us having a good time and laughing at each other and laughing at the game. And then eventually, so I'd initially asked both Matt and Nate and Enthrallman and Magooch if they all wanted to do this podcast. And all of them said no, except for Magooch. He's the only one that said yes. I think it was out of just pity, really. But after about 30 episodes, I convinced Enthrallman to come on as a guest. And then the next week, I was like, hey, Enthrallman, you want to come on as a guest again? He's like, sure. And then the next week, I was like, hey, Enthrallman, you going to come on for a guest? He's like, okay. And then he was just on the podcast forever then. So it was very much
again, put a pin in this conversation, and we'll come back to this exact theme yet again.
I remember saying very clearly to Magooch, it's like, hey, if we just like add Joel, Thrallman, Joel, to like our Discord, do you think he'll just come to all the episodes? And he did for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And again, changed the entire tone of Squelch because Magooch and I, like, I'm average at best. Magooch is really good at Rogue, but only plays Rogue. And then Thrallman is like a legitimately good Hearthstone player, card player in
Just
general.
card game player in general.
Like in the summer when he has time, just like hangs out in top 100. Like he was like that good at Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden we had like someone who was actually good at the game on the podcast and also funny and super engaging. And again, like just leveled up the entire thing. Ridiculous Hat came on. That's at the time, like the Coin Concede group, like kind of heard Squelch because Hat knows Thrallman really well. And so Hat heard it, and then Coin Concede talked about us for a little bit, and then the podcast just kind of grew up. Matt joined us again.
Eventually.
As a guest, and then it was kind of like as a guest again, and then it was just added to the Discord, and he just showed up every week.
Yeah.
And then Magooch had some things happen, some really sad things happen, and so he left the podcast, and he came back once more ever since in episode 200.
Yeah.
But still one of my favorite human beings. And so the joke about Magooch is that he's always here. He's just on mute. So it's right here to my left right now, obviously. But yeah, so at that point, we just kind of were just a regular run-of-the-mill Hearthstone podcast that just kind of made PG-related jokes.
Right? Yeah, like it was more of a, like the jokes weren't for the audience. The jokes were for us. And we thought we were hilarious, but it was also really just laugh therapy for the three of us.
It honestly was. Like in Thrallman's superpower is he finds everything funny in like a really positive way. So he'll say a joke and he'll laugh at it and then you'll laugh at it. Or you'll say something that is like mildly funny at best. Mildly funny. And he would think it's the funniest thing ever and would laugh out loud and then everyone would be laughing. And
you use the term was as if that is a past tense thing and not is of we only do it because we think we are funny.
That is true.
Well aware that that is not necessarily the other conclusion that people come to.
Commit to the bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so we just kind of just vibe for a while. The three of us. Eventually, Matt, remind me of the timeline here a little bit.
So Joel left for a while.
Yes, because he got done with kind of and ended up stopped playing Hearthstone for a while because he got back into Magic. Actually, got really back into Magic and is still super into Magic. His son's super into Magic. His son, by the way, just hit Legend for the first time this month. He's 14 years old. Congratulations. So that's awesome. His son is better at Hearthstone than I am. Always has been.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we invited. So Matt and I kind of just did the show, the two of us, and then kind of met Storm Rage through I don't even know what. How did you and I?
We just had you on we just had you as a guest just because that's what we do.
I think most things in the Hearthstone world, it was because of Ridiculous Hat.
I mean, there was the beef.
Yes.
Oh, the beef.
Oh, yeah. We hated each other.
We did.
Yeah,
That
we
was
totally
totally
hated each
real
other.
and not
Yeah.
at all a bit.
Yeah.
There was a rivalry, an internet rivalry between Squelch and Blizzlet, two very Hearthstone-y podcasts at the time.
Yeah.
And there was a point, like, we did rap battles back and forth between the two of us.
Yeah.
And
Which we won, by the way.
Definitely one.
Debatable. And then at some point, I was like, I should probably check it and make sure that this is all in good fun. So I created a group chat with myself, Matt, and Dano.
And Joel.
And Thrallamund. And we named it Wendy's because we have the beef.
Yeah.
And I think it was named that for several years, long after the joke had ever been made.
I forgot why it was named that. Yeah, and so I think we had you came on as a guest to Squelch.
Yes.
And then you had me on Blizzlet.
Yes.
Where I told the best story ever.
Yeah, would you like to recap people about what you told on Blizzlet?
Should I give just the Blizzlet portion of the
Yes,
story?
you should just give the Blizzlet portion.
So Storm Rage asked, so it was myself and just a guy.
Yeah.
And we were on, and Storm Rage goes, so tell me a funny story about yourself. I'm like, oh, I've got an incredibly funny story. Okay, so back in 2017, I had a kidney stone and had to go into the doctor's office. So I'm at the doctor's office.
Just wait, it's hilarious.
I'm at the doctor's office. My wife had to drive me in because kidney stones hurt. So my wife drove me in. She was on spring break. She's a first grade teacher. And while I'm at checking in the doctor, I lose all vision on the right-hand side of my head. I can't see out of my right eye. So I'm like, I can't see. I have to sit down. And the nurse then at this point gets understandably concerned and then rushes me back to the doctor. And
now, you might be thinking what I was thinking during this time, which is, I asked for a funny story. So far, not particularly hilarious. Continue on, Dano.
So the doctor talks to my wife, and he's like, well, so I believe he's having a stroke. So yeah, we're very close to a hospital. It'll be quicker for you to drive him to the hospital than for the ambulance to come. And so we're like, okay. So like Sarah has to like walk me out, like carrying, because I can't walk straight at all because I can't see anything out of my right eye. So I have like just no vision. And so we walk out, get in the car. At this point, like I work for a law school career office, and I have to call my boss. And I'm like, hey, the Minnesota Supreme Court's coming in 2 weeks, and here are the things that need to get done. And then I go, okay, so I think I'm having a stroke, so I'll talk to you later. And then
and at this point,
and then I'm like,
he's telling the story,
I'm not done that far story yet.
I know you're not. So I
look at the phone, I'm like, I don't know how to hang up the phone. How do I hang up the phone? I forgot how to hang up the phone. And Sarah's like white knuckling it. And she's like, just leave it there. I'm like, oh, I figured it out. And then we walked into the hospital, and I was indeed having a stroke. It was a brain bleed. I had an AVM, which is a type of brain bleed. And
let me
This is a comedy story, by the way.
I, at this point, was terrified. I asked for a funny story, and I heard about the time that he almost died, and it's not done yet. Surely there's going to be a good ending to this. Surely this will be worth the wait, because there are many elements about his wife legitimately thinking he was dying that he is leaving out on this retelling. Dano, continue on.
Okay, a little meta here. So at this point, we were on a Discord call, and so I'm telling this story, and I'm getting up to the funny bit, and then I see just a guy in Storm Rage's face, and it's just this look of like terror, like what is happening? And I'm like, why are they looking at me like this? And then it's, where's the funny, Dan? I'm like, no. And then I got like completely lost in the story, and then kind of just forgot to get to the funny bit. And so
you end the story.
I just ended the story
during the Blizzlet time, and you go, and then I had a stroke.
It was too
And
strong.
that was the end. If you are thinking to yourself, that wasn't funny, I had to edit the podcast knowing that was going out into the world. That I set up as, tell me a funny story. Here's the time I almost died.
I did almost die. It's okay.
Then, weeks later...
It was months later.
It was like 6 months
later.
6 months later.
I had assumed that Dano's stroke had just like twisted his sense of what's funny or not. And I was like, we'll never hear the end of that story. I'll never ask him to retell it. And then eventually... So what is the actual end of that story?
So my favorite part about this, we're on Squelch at this point. We're even on Blizzlet. We were on Squelch, and I finished the story. So the way the story finishes, so I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. And the way that this AVM bleed that I had, you're born with it essentially, and it's some blood vessels aren't supposed to be there, and they weaken and they can bleed. And that's when it gets scary. And so the doctor who's going to do the surgery was going on vacation. So they're like, okay, go home for a week, and then come back and we'll do the surgery. But that night before I was supposed to go home, I had a second bleed, so a second stroke. And they had like rushed me off into surgery. Like they gave me lunch and like
hilarious. Yeah. I know.
So they gave me. So it was like really, really scary moments. Go in, super successful surgery, got it all. Have a cool scar now. It's great. And
this is the point that you ended on Blizzlet. Right here is the point that you stopped talking.
But here's the funny bit. So when they're done, so my wife and my family had been like in like the waiting area for it was like a 7-8 hour surgery. So it was like a big deal. And the nurse comes out. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and the nurse comes out and she goes, my wife Sarah. She goes, so Dan had something to say. So he's out and everything is good, and he had something to say. And Sarah's like, oh, what was it? And she goes, he said, smork.
Now, if somebody's unfamiliar with the term smork, would you like to describe the term?
So it's just a Twitch emote, right? SM orc. It just means like when at Hearthstone, promise it was for aggressive metas, right? So
Yeah.
you
Going face.
when you go face, you smork, right? And so I'm assuming in my mind, I don't remember any of this. I'm assuming in my mind that like it was kind of an aggressive surgery, right? So it was kind of with face, smork, right? And then my mom and my sister start laughing, like my wife start laughing. I just like nervous energy, and the nurse is like, so what does it mean? And they're like, we have no idea. So that was
15 minutes of setup for a 15-second joke that was omitted from the story.
But we did tell it 6 months later on a different podcast. So
I mean,
so at that point, so Daniel guested on Squelch and messaged me in Discord and was like, "Hey, that was a blast. I love that. Like, how about I come on permanently?" And I was,
No.
yep.
No.
It's clearly how I remember it.
I mean, it's the truth, honestly.
I finished up and I was like, hey, that was so much fun. If you guys ever need a guest host, let me know.
Hey, you
I'd
wanna
be
come on
happy
next
to
week?
come on.
Yeah.
And then you went, great, I'll add you to the host Discord. And I went, okay. And then you went, so we'll see you next week. And I was like, forever? And he was like, yeah, obviously.
So Storm Race with the podcast.
Yeah.
And we did Hearthstone Goose for a while. Matt left Hearthstone.
Yeah, I was going through a divorce and falling out of love with the game, so I kind of left the game for a while.
Yeah, and
I
that
left the show for a while too.
So we did some Only Dance podcasts before Electric Sheep City joined us.
Yep.
Which was a ton of fun. Sheep is awesome, still on the podcast. And we did that for a little while.
And then we can come back to that thesis of games are supposed to be fun. This
Yes.
is the point that we come back to here, because I won't swear, but I will try to colorfully describe things. Dano in general is a person that I enjoy interacting with, that I think is a fine individual, that has very positive energy and very positive vibes. I've never met a more miserable and angry son of someone who is not the rightful father. It was miserable being on the podcast with him for a few weeks because he hated Hearthstone with a fiery passion.
So I was starting to get a little tired of Hearthstone. I didn't hate it. This was about 4 months before this happened, before we stopped being a Hearthstone podcast. I kind of was getting a little bit tired of it, and we've been bouncing the idea of maybe not being a Hearthstone podcast. But then the meta turned us like an expansion dropped, and it was my jam. Like I fell back in love with Hearthstone hard, and I was like, yes, here we go. We're a Hearthstone podcast forever. I love this. It loves me. I'm never not talking about this. And then it rotated, and it took a turn. It took a turn that a place I didn't want to go, and I despised every second of it. And I was miserable on the show. I was miserable in Discord. I was like, I'd play the game, and Dean would come up and talk to me, and I'd be like short with him, and then I'd turn the game off. Like, why am I being? It was just not great. And so
This was the point in time that I just stopped reading any of the Discord messages.
Yeah.
Because it would be like Dano saying one thing, Matt saying one thing, and Thrallman saying another. And then they just go off for like 2 hours about how angry they were about something. I was like, I'll check in when it's all done to see if I need to learn anything.
Yeah. And so then it was back to that number one conceit, right? Which was like we got to the point where it was like, I felt like, so we had our Patreon and we had our patrons. They were supporting the show. And I felt like in order to have the podcast, I had to play Hearthstone. But in order to play Hearthstone, I had to have the podcast. So I couldn't afford the game without. So I felt like they were connected.
Yeah, can you imagine doing a podcast with people that don't play the game?
Right.
What a weird situation that might be.
And so it was just like, okay, I don't know how we're going to do this, but let's just do it. I'm not happy. Either we're going to end the podcast or we're going to change the podcast. And so we decided just to change the podcast. And we've changed that a couple of times since then.
Yeah.
But we were like, okay, we're just going to be like an indie game podcast. We're going to play indie games. And that lasted for one game.
It was what was it that? Was it
We played a week of Hades 2.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks of
Cult of the
Cult of
Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb.
Oh, and then it was Obra Dinn, which broke the indie game.
Oh,
No.
God, Obra Dinn, that game.
Then was Life is Strange.
Life is Strange,
Then it was
which
Obra Dinn.
okay, yeah.
Life is Strange is one of my favorite games.
But
of all
also,
time.
Life is Strange was not an indie game because
No,
it was
it was
released
not.
by Square.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So then it became like, okay, it'll be like a cheap game podcast.
Yeah,
we'll
so
play
everything-
games that are on sale on Steam. So we did that for a little bit, and then we kind of fell into, Matt came back at this point. Sheep fell off because Sheep was finishing up his master's degree. And then we were like, okay, we picked up Mass Effect on like sale.
it was
right?
like $10.
Yeah, for like all 3 games, right? So, okay, we'll play Mass Effect. And so we played Mass Effect.
No,
we-
no. The original idea was we were going into December, so we were doing
Oh, that's right.
Xmas Effect.
Xmas Effect.
And the original idea was we were going to do every year we're going to do a Mass Effect game.
Yeah, every year.
in December.
And I had other plans.
So in December, we played Mass Effect 1.
And then right around December 19th, I'm going, so what about January? Because Mass Effect is my favorite video game series of all time. And I was like, I bet I can, if I can get them to play Mass Effect 2, they'll finish the series. Because you don't play Mass Effect 1 and then Mass Effect 2 and then not finish it. Because Mass Effect 2 is a great game. But Mass Effect 1, you do kind of got to get through at some points.
Yeah, I love Mass Effect 1. I played this series before, but I love Mass Effect 2, though. That is
That game's good.
that is
Incredible game.
art. That is art. So Xmas Effect just became play the Mass Effect trilogy, and then we just kind of loved that idea of talking about RPGs.
Yeah,
And
which spawned the Bio year.
Bio year. So we did Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and then Dragon Age Origins, and now Dragon Age 2.
And then
Yeah, and then we're gonna do Inquisition, then we're gonna do Andromeda, then Veilguard.
Not Veilguard, then Andromeda?
I think if we want to do Xmas Effect, we have to do Andromeda in between.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll see if it changes. But yeah, so that's the story of Squelch. But now we talk about video games, and we're the video game book club because the idea is to play games with friends. So we play about 4 to 6 hours of a video game a week. Talk about that bit of story. Have fun.
It's great.
It's wonderful. And if we don't like a game, we stop playing it.
We do that often.
yeah.
Because video games are supposed to be fun, right? That's the whole point.
Well, with Obra Dinn, it was like you hated that game.
I didn't finish that game.
No.
I just went on the podcast and hosted it, and you guys talked about Obra Dinn.
And like the first week we played Obra Dinn, I just got deep into it. I enjoyed the
Yeah,
heck.
you like almost finished it week 1.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And the first time I played it, I was like, this is pretty good. And then it turned into like a partner game with my partner, Ginger Soros. And I was like, oh no, this game slaps.
There we go.
Look at me not swearing.
That was a close one. There.
I felt it on the tip of my tongue.
I saw the F
I
forming
made
on your
eye
lips.
contact with you, and I went, nope, not right podcast.
I played Obra Dinn for a week, didn't like it, played around with the settings for which color I was going to use with old computer,
Yeah.
and then said, I'm not playing this anymore, and I didn't, because it's my podcast, and I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, oh, sorry, Squelch. Did I miss
Yeah.
anything?
No, that's about it.
Sheep's back now.
Sheep is back.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was at least one queue that needed to be A'd. Is that right?
I believe, yes.
Oh,
And if anybody else has queues, they can as well. But I know Smarms has a question.
Smarms, do you want to? Is this a question that we should start or end on? Either way. Okay. Smarms, go ahead and approach the microphone. Let's ask your question. I know you've at least got one other question outside of this.
This is way less a question, more of a statement.
Oh, okay.
Hey, thank you for having me on Once Upon a Time. I really appreciate it. Had
Well,
fun.
yeah, it was one of those things where Dan was out. Usually the way how we have guests on the show, because I know Edel has been on the show. I know Doc has been on the show. Usually it's Dan is out that week. I am playing hosting duties because the hosting duties fall to me because Storm Rage is otherwise occupied being Storm Rage.
I love that in half of my podcasts, I have to be the Rails, and the other one, I get to be a Chaos Goblin.
So, yeah.
I love it.
the reason that I'm not ever there when we have guests is because I have like massive imposter syndrome, and I don't think that we're worth being a guest on, and so I never have the guts to ask anybody. It was like I never had the guts to like ask anyone to, because like why would they want to come on Squelch? We are a dopey dumb podcast. So that's why I'm never on for the guests.
That's so funny to me because like you guys prepare so much, unlike other podcasts that I've been on. It's just vibes and a prayer.
I mean, our show. You've seen our show notes. There is a lot in there.
It's kind of insane, though, guys.
But it really is just like a general guideline.
Sure, that's so what it feels like. But I just wanted to say thank you for adapting and doing games that you love, because now I get to beat Daniel in number of Hearthstone podcasts. And so yeah, good job, guys. Really proud of you.
You're welcome. I'm glad we could assist in making Daniel a little bit lesser. So that's.
Yeah, glad you guys are here. All right, thanks, guys. I win.
I want to make sure that we go back, and I'll make sure to edit that so we are at 28 minutes. I'll make sure that I win is loud enough to get heard.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I believe Torby had a question. Hopefully, it's a question that isn't just a dig at me. We'll see if those questions exist.
So my question is for Matt and Dan, and that is, why are you both so much better than Storm Rage?
Ooh, at everything?
At everything?
At everything.
I mean, it's obvious, right?
I don't think I am.
No.
I think Storm Rage is the best part of the podcast. He's hilarious. Like, I don't know. I love Storm Rage's energy. I think this is a great question to ask during Blizzlet. And if you don't listen to Blizzlet regularly, go listen to this episode of Blizzlet. It's 400, you're calling it?
Our live episode is episode 400.
Yeah, so they're calling it episode 400, but it is not numerically 400. That's Blizzard energy.
Hey, don't break kayfabe.
And so a question that was asked in their Q&A, which was fantastic, by the way, was why does Storm Rage get dunked on so much by the co-hosts? And honestly, it's because he's just probably the most likable and lovable part of like the podcast.
Yeah.
And so he takes it with grace, and then you never know, like, he takes a goof to like just the right place, like the rabbit hole worth exploring, right? Like, you never know if he's actually in on the goof or if he's actually annoyed. I'm still not sure if he likes it or doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Same with when we used to be off the episode, a host off the episode, we had that section. What was it? Oh, objection.
Objection, yes.
So we had the objection.
The objection drop, yeah.
So the objection drop is just every objection from.
Yeah. So those who don't know, we have a bit that we do. It's called objections. When a host is not on the episode, they can then, on the next episode they return, they can make objections to the previous episode they were not on. And then we have a 25-second drop
of just objection. Objection.
Yeah, So the entire point of the bit is that we get to play the drop, and then the other host gets to talk.
And then Storm Rage pretends after every time we do the objection drop that he doesn't think it's funny and that he doesn't like it, when you know that he loves it and that's his favorite bit. And
Okay, no. Let me clarify. I don't think it's not funny. I think it is infuriating, because the important thing that you are leaving out is that you do something with that drop. You did for a very long time. You added an additional objection every single week. And now there is some number of objections, and I never know how many it's going to be.
The last count was 14?
No, last count was 19.
Oh, 19. Okay.
And I don't know if that was because there was one that was 20, there was one that was 22. I don't know what you do, but it does drive me insane.
there are two people that do know. So I know, and Enthrallment knows, and that's it.
No.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
So that was not my real question, because yes, Storm Rage is amazing. My actual question is, what is a game that each of you absolutely love, but that you do not see ever covering on the show because you think the co-hosts will very much dislike it?
Okay. I can answer this one first right away. And that is Symphony of the Night. Which we kind of did in the 1 week of Castlevania we did.
It was a fun week.
That was a super fun week. So we did a 1 week of Castlevania where we just played a bunch of Castlevania games, and I played Symphony of the Night again for like the umpteenth dozen time, and I love that. I think that's one of my favorite all-time games. But we do have a bit of a rule where we don't do platformers because, but it is the canonical Metroidvania, and I want to play that on the show at one point.
We go next.
Yeah. One that I kind of pitched a number of times, and it doesn't really feel like it fits, just because I think it's difficult to play and talk about in the format, and it's a bit of an older game, is Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
Oh yeah.
Because like I do think that you guys would like it, but it's such like you need to have so much time sink into that game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's fun for people that don't have massive nostalgia for it anymore. I do worry that it's just rose-colored glasses, and you guys might come in and be like, oh, this game actually sucks. And I would be terrified of that.
That was my fear with Dragon Age 2. I love Dragon Age 2, and I was like, most people don't like that game. And I'm like, what if they hate it? And I come off looking like an idiot.
It's great.
Isn't
That
it?
is a
though?
fun. It is
a great game.
It is probably the Mass Effect 2 of Dragon Age.
Yeah.
It's fair, it is. So mine is The Last of Us, which I think fits very well into what we do as a podcast. But Storm Rage doesn't do zombie games.
I can't do scary things.
Yep, so we don't do it, which is perfectly fun. Last of Us, one of my favorite games of all time. It's probably my second after Life is Strange. Last of Us 2 honestly broke me. Like, it was during COVID, and like that story broke me. Like, Matt and Thrallmund were there. Like, I finished the game and I was like a broken person.
Yeah.
It was hard. But yeah, Last of Us. Just
Can
amazing
I
game.
pitch a game as a palate cleanser in between something? It is a game I've been wanting to play because it is one of my dear friend's favorite games of all time, and I just keep not playing it because life exists. Disco Elysium.
Yes.
Oh, I tried that one. It is dark.
Yeah.
I tried to get into it. If we had to pay for the game podcast, I probably.
I mean,
do it.
yeah, I'll play for the podcast.
All right.
I own it already. So
I mean,
sure.
if we're going to do we're going to do this now. We have talked about doing Final Fantasy VI at some point.
Oh, yeah. I'd be down with that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we have another question. Jock, if you would approach the microphone.
If you could play one video game for the first time again, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's so easy. It's Life is Strange. Yeah, that's just like Life is Strange was like that was the game when I was like, oh, so a video can tell incredible stories with incredible characters and make you bawl like a baby. At the end of that game, I cried. Oh my gosh, I cried. That game is magic. Pure magic.
Daniel, you're not gonna like this one. Return of the Obra Dinn. Because most of the games that we've played, I imagine myself going back to and playing multiple times because they're just good mechanical games that have really interesting effects, and I can enjoy those games even if I know how it ends. Like, I still love going back to Life is Strange. I've gone back to Life is Strange many times. Obra Dinn is just such a perfect, tight story. And the feeling of discovery when you're like, oh, wait, that tracks here, which tracks with here, which tracks with there, is just so wonderfully done. And I don't think I'll be ever able to fully revisit that sense of discovery with that game.
That's interesting because I played Obra Dinn and there's no story there. I'm certain of it.
Return of the Obra Dinn is just, it's wonderful, and I'm very grateful that I had help getting through it, because I am not smart enough for that game, but boy howdy was it a great time.
I don't know if I can answer this question. My memory is terrible, so I just forget things all the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Can I answer for you?
sure, absolutely.
It's Obra Dinn. You loved that game.
I did.
Loved Obra Dinn.
You played that game over like a 6-day stretch. Like,
Yeah,
you started playing the game, and then you finished the game. I was like, Matt, we still have 3 more weeks of playing this game, and you're already done with it.
Well, also, one, I loved it. 2, I was also going on vacation for 2 of those weeks. So, yeah. But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably Obra Dinn. So,
Good question.
yeah.
We
got one.
Grand Arcanum, welcome to the microphone.
Thank you. One of the things that I really like about the podcast is your willingness to take suggestions.
Yes.
And I'm the one that keeps suggesting Celeste every single time. That's me. And so the follow-up question then, because I've now learned that the general rule is you don't do 2D platform, or you don't do platformers. And so the question is, what is one thing you like about platformers, and what is one thing you don't necessarily like about platformers?
I hate jumping mechanics because there is nothing more infuriating to me in games than jumping across a chasm, knowing that you can reach it, knowing that you're just like slight timing off, and you spend 30 minutes trying to get over this jump, and then eventually you just get frustrated and you hand Stevie the controller saying, I can't do it, please do it for me. Yeah, that's the main reason is I hate jumping mechanics.
I think, like, specifically for the podcast, part of it is it doesn't necessarily translate well to how we podcast, because that was what we kind of ran into with Darkest Dungeon and the Sheep game.
Cult of
Cult of Lamb
yeah.
was like, it's more of like a game that you play through, that you experience. It's hard to kind of talk about this. With Hearthstone, there was a meta to talk about. In Hades, there's a story, and Dragon Age, Math, there's stories. With some of the platformers, like, because of how we approach podcasting, it doesn't necessarily work with how we episode really,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't. It's kind of bad pod.
Yeah.
I like platformers. Like, some of my favorite games are platformers.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan. I'm worried because it's hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes hard games like turn me off. Like, it's like that initial fear of, am I a good enough video game player to play this game?
Mm-hmm.
And usually I am, but like, there's that initial like fear of maybe I'm just like Oberdin. I was like, oh, I'm too stupid to do this. So, but yeah, I think that's probably more of it. And then Storm Age hates them. We don't play games if our hosts don't like it. So.
Yeah, I think if we do a platformer type game or something like that, it would be like a one-off, 1 week thing.
Castlevania.
Like a Castlevania week we did, or like we do like Celeste this week, or we do whatever, or Silk Song eventually when that comes out. Even though I'm probably never playing Silk Song.
No, it's hard. It's scary and hard.
Because I maybe got to the Greenleaf part of the first game, and that's about as far as I ever got.
I don't touch Metroidvanias. Like, they're just too much for me. And then, like, I know part of the fun of a Metroidvania is the discovery, but then I'm always think I need to go to the guide. And I'm like, if I go to a guide, then I'm not experiencing it the right way. So am I playing this game the right way? Then I know I can't go to the guide. And then I get frustrated because I can't figure out where I'm supposed to go. So that's me in Metroidvanias in a nutshell, which is why I don't really play them, because I feel like I'm supposed to play it one way, and like that, I can't. I'm just not clever enough to figure out like where goes what and how to get where and when to come back and that kind of stuff.
All right.
Okay. I think that's the last of the questions.
Should we do a Naga sandwich about I don't know, Blizzletcon in general, or is it oops all good?
Yeah. What's your not so good about Blizzletcon, huh?
Driving 16 hours, but I get to hang out with Dan for 16 hours.
I liked the drive. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that was the burrito. The burrito is not
okay.
so
We don't
good.
need to talk about the burrito. We can stop talking about that burrito. I don't think anyone's care about that burrito anymore. Terrible, terrible burrito.
So we got the not so good out of the way.
Yeah. I think the best good is just kind of this cool community. What a neat group of people, honestly. It's a super cool group. I don't do this kind of stuff. This is like my first hangout in a lot of years, 10 years, since I've like hung out with people that aren't family, and it's been really fun and exciting. So
Yeah, I also kind of want to agree with that. As a number of people have talked to me and been like, I haven't hung out with friends in years, and I'm like, oh.
I'm not the one who swears. I'm Storm Rage. I don't swear on the podcast.
Hey.
It's all Matt that swears on the podcast.
Hey, Dan, in the audio file, there's a big block of noise right after that, just so you know.
Oh, you were saying Storm Rage in your PG.
When I get sincere, I start to swear. I'm very sorry. It just felt really cool that people were kind of taking a chance on this. And people have been just so nice and kind and good to one another, and really supportive. And I think that sometimes life gets really, really hard, and being able to come together is just like a bunch of dorks that all just kind of love games and hanging out has been just a really wonderful experience.
I agree. So
actually getting to meet a lot of you and meeting a bunch of new people has been amazing and such a fantastic weekend. And I'm looking forward to the next one, Dan. Daniel.
Yeah, Dan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ray, oh boy,
Daniel.
Goody. All right,
Storm Rage.
hold your
There
breath. I think we're gonna end it there. So next week we are heading into the Brazilian forest.
For real.
So,
Yes, for real.
for real this time. That's it for Squelch. Thank you so much for our patrons for patronizing us. I don't have the notes in front of me, so I'm not
I don't
sure
know
how we
what
end
I'm
the
supposed to
podcast.
say here. It's not in front of me. The conventions
Blizzletcon
are-
is a convention.
Yeah,
and conventions are
Blizzletcon
supposed to be fun.
is a convention. Conventions are supposed to be fun.
Yeah, con that vention, baby.
That's the end of Dean's show. Everybody bye.
That's the end of the show. Everybody bye. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
And now we do the.
Now we do the song that's a rap song about how Squelch is better than Blizzlet.
What if I just hit the stop button now, though?
Sure.